In these type of questions, percentage increase and decrease, there are a number of different ways the question can be phrased and a number of different methods that you have available to you for tackling it. So let's dive straight in and look at this example. A painting is valued at £430. It then increases in value by 6%. Now you'll notice I haven't yet given a question. That's because there are two types of basic question that could be asked. They could say, how much did it increase by? Or they could say, how much is it worth now? Now, you cannot tell in advance which type of question they're going to ask. You have to read it for yourself and understand it for yourself to make sure that you actually answer the question that they've asked. The second issue is that perhaps this will be on a non-calculator paper, or perhaps it will be on a calculator paper. And again, the method that you use in terms of speed and efficiency will probably change depending on whether you have your calculator or not. Right, let's go through these four different options. The first one, how much did it increase by without a calculator? Well, you'll have seen this before. 10% of £430 is 43. 1% must be £4.30. We want 6% altogether. The next easiest thing to do is actually work out 5%. 5% is a half of 10%, it's a half of £43. A half of 42 is £21, £21.50. And here then, I have my 6%. So, probably the best way to set it out is simple column addition. You'll notice that I've deliberately kept the money lined up, units, tens, decimal place, all lined up nicely. So 6% equals, now we've got to be very careful here. I only want the 1% and the 5% added. This was helpful. This helped me work out what these were, but this is not part of the answer. So I'm only doing the 4, add the 1 makes the 5, and the 2. A final answer of £25.80. That's how much the painting increased in value by. How much is it worth now? Well, if they ask you that instead, then you've got to do all of that, and then you've got to take £430 that it was worth and add on the £25.80 that it's increased by, and then we can add those up, again very carefully keeping things in columns, and so it is now worth £455.80. This looks very simple, but remember that if they ask you that, then before you can ever do this, you have to do this first. Now, if instead they've provided you with a calculator, we're going to get the same answers. We could do it the same way, but that's a lot of work to write down if we don't need to write it down. It increases in value by 6%. How much did it increase by? Well, it increased by 6% of £430. Now 6% is the same thing as that, 600ths. 600ths of times 430. And so 0.06 times 430 equals, turn it into a decimal, 25.8. 25.8. We do need to remember that we're talking about money, so we need to put the second decimal place in. And there's the £25.80. It's a lot less writing. Definitely worth learning. How much is it worth now without a calculator? Sorry, with a calculator. Well, we could, again, just do this. £430 plus this answer. But thinking back to percentage multipliers, the original amount is £430. It's going up by 6%. Now, if the £430 was staying the same, then we would just multiply by 1. But because it's going up by 6%, we want to multiply by a little bit more than 1. And you can see there, I hope, the 6% above the original amount that we need. And so if we reach for the calculator, we've got 430 times 1.06, and we've got 455.8. So we've got our answer. Now it's exactly the same if we start to consider decrease. We've again got the non-calculator and calculator possibilities. We've got how much did it go down. We've got what's it worth, the two different questions. And we'll go through this just now as well. Deliberately chosen a more difficult percentage. Right, we know that 10% equals £750. This other 7.5% that we need to find, there's actually quite a clever way of doing it. If we work out 5% and then 2.5%, then this will total to 17.5%. Now, some people might say that 2.5% sounds very awkward, but it's only exactly half of the 5. So if I work out what 5% is, let's think about that. Half of 750. Well, half of 700 is 350. And then another half of 50, so we're up to 375. And if we half this and half this, we'll know what 2.5% was. Now, 2 into 375, that hurts my head a little bit. So perhaps, just very quickly, 2 into 3 goes once, 1. 2 into 17 goes 8 times, remainder 1. 2 into 15 is 7, remainder 1. So 187.5. That is £187.50. Notice that being able to do a quick division is really helpful. It's a skill that you do need. Now, add these up to get our 17.5%. 12, 20, 21, 13. And so we've got £1,312 and 50%. That's how much it decreased in value by. What's it worth? Well, you would still need to do all this, and now we've got 7,500 minus 1312.50. Do a subtraction, and as with the division, it's really important that you do actually know how to do these in an efficient, accurate manner. Can't do all these zeros, I'm going to have to borrow from there. Ten take 5, 9 take 2. Like I said, be accurate. 9 take 2 is 7, 9 take 1 is 8, 4 take 3 is 1, 7 take 1 is 6. There we go. So the car is now valued at £6,187.50. With a calculator, we already saw how much easier this was with a calculator. We want to decrease by 17.5% of 7,500. So what I can do, there's 10%, there's 17%, there's 17.5%. I can put that into the calculator, 0.175 times 7,500, and get an answer of exactly what I had there, 1312.50. And what's it worth? Well, this time we want to start with the £7,500. And if we multiplied it by 1, it would stay the same. We need to multiply by less than 1 because it's decreasing in value. Now, if I multiplied by 0.9, that would bring it down 10%. If I multiplied by 0.8, that would bring it down by 20%, a little bit too much. A little bit of thought helps you judge that we want to multiply by that. If you do 100 take away 17.5, you get 82.5. And so 7,500 multiplied by 0.825 makes 6187.50. As I said, you need to be able to tackle all of these different methods so that whatever situation you find yourself in, you're capable of dealing with it efficiently.